it's crazy. There's so many books out there that like individuals just aren't taking advantage of, and the information is in the book. And you know, I feel like poor communities, and when I say poor communities, I'm not just talking about black communities. I'm talking about any community that is poor. Because just because you're in a poor community or just because you're in the hood doesn't mean that you're black. Like there are white hoods, there are black hoods, there are Asian hoods, there are Indian hoods, there are hoods of all natures. But what separates the poor community and the wealthy community is their view towards money. And a lot what I've noticed is just that by, associating with poor people and by associating with wealthy people, I notice just the point of view towards money is different, you know. For instance, like, you know, poor people genuinely think money is evil. And if you think that money is evil, because you've only seen like all you've seen your whole life is evil ways to get money. Like you haven't seen any other way of getting money. So you might have seen people doing illegal things to get money, and you think you don't want to be an evil person. You don't want to do illegal things to get money, which you shouldn't, because especially nowadays you don't have to. So you don't even try to get money because you, subconscious level, you mentally associate being getting money as doing something illegal. You know, I'll give you another example. So sometimes in the office, in the sales office, people would talk about making money, and they would say, well, how many people have made X amount of dollars in a day? I think it was talking about 1,000 for an example. And so, because they were talking about the higher levels of running a sales office. Now, how many of you ever made 2,000 a day, 3,000 a day, 10,000 a day? And people were raising their hands. And then they would jokingly say legally. And then people put their hands down. I would keep my hand up because I've made like legal money in a day, large amounts. And so, when it comes to it, people think to themselves like they think the only way, on many different levels, people think the only way that someone can make a large amount of money is in a legal way. If you can do it in a day, like you make $10,000 in a day, you can only do it in an illegal fashion. And this is people who have money, and people who don't have money think that way. And so they would laugh at that joke. So, a lot of people's mentality, and I say poor people, and I don't mean, when I say poor people, like I said, I don't mean black people. I mean poor people, because you have poor people of every single race, whether it be black, white, Chinese, Indian. You have hoods in many different of every single different race. And so one thing, like I said, that they have in common is their viewpoint towards money, and it creates inherently in a money rejection complex. And so you reject the money. And I look at it in the scale when I look at something like music, and you look at hip hop. And hip hop, it comes from the hood. Hip hop, it does come from, the black community, even though you have a lot of white pioneers in hip hop, in Spanish and Puerto Rican pioneers in hip hop, and even Mexican pioneers in hip hop. And so, with all of that, you say to yourself, well, people grow up doing illegal things to get money. Why is it that when these hip hop artists and they start to get money, and they either get robbed or they get set up or something along those lines, when at the same time you might have a country music artist that gets money, and they grow up and they get money, and then they continue to just get money, and people would love to point at the community, but it's just more so the mentality, because people associate making money with a negative thing. And so people feel like they need to do something which no one should ever do, which is give back. Which, I mean, if you're giving back, that means you've stolen from something, or you're stolen from someone. Like I give, I'm all in favor of giving, but not giving back. And I learned that from Rabbi Lapin in the book Business Secrets of the Bible. And one thing I feel like will help people get over their money rejection complex is reading a book like that, Business Secrets of the Bible. It's a great book, and it contains so much knowledge in it. And it just goes to show you how, from a youth, a lot of us have been taught negative things about money and have been mentally associating money with negative things. Yet at the same time, there are people who associate money with positive things. And when you talk with people amongst the wealthy community, you see the methods and the ways that they use to grow money and multiply money. You say, I get that. And they're not doing anything illegal, but you have to come to that understanding. But the problem is, most people think that if someone is coming up on money, that they done something wrong for it, some sort of scam or something like that. I would caution you and caution your way of thinking if you think in that fashion. Because it's only going to do one thing. It's going to cause you yourself to reject money. And the more and more you reject money, the less money you'll have, and the more you'll do evil things to get it. Because you think that other people are doing evil things to get it. They're getting it, so why shouldn't you? That's not the case. Everybody's not doing something evil or illegal to get money. And when I talk to people who build legitimate businesses and their business is just thriving and they're doing what, God has set out for individuals to do, well, then that's a wonderful thing. You know what's really crazy? With most places like fast food restaurants, I wish I learned this sooner. I wish that I learned this sooner. So, and it was like we were given a seed to see it in the beginning. It just wasn't any luxury in it, right? And if anybody's like a Gen X, you know about Calvin and the McDonald's commercials. And if somebody really wanted to, they can literally work at McDonald's, work their way up to the top, and get to owning a franchise and get to owning multiple franchises. And it would take a lot of time to do so, but they can definitely 100% put themselves into a really good financial position. But people don't want to do the work. Everybody wants the quick money. Everybody's thinking of things in the now sense. Why is that on the poor side of things? Because a lot of poor communities seeing people that they grew up around them and think, man, yesterday this guy was here, today he's not here no more. It could be me. It could be my peoples. I got to hurry up and get money and live in the moment. And you get money and you get money however you get it. And then you don't think you're going to live to be 60, 70, 80, 90 years old. But then you're going to have around you 60, 70, 80, 90-year-old individuals who have nothing. Your biggest concern, if you're a young person, like if you're in your teens or if you're in your 20s, even if you're in your 30s, your biggest concern should be, I don't want to be old and broke. That has to be my mentality if I'm 20 years old. And so what am I going to do to prepare to not be old and broke? Because you may be old, but you don't want to be old and broke. Doing sales in many different communities, I've ran into old and broke people. I've ran into old people who really had to do things that I'm not going to speak of in order just to get money so they can get food. It's a shame that it's come to that, but I'm sure that all of them believe that they should have put together something for them in their ages when they weren't able to function properly. Also, it's about where I'm circulating my money, right? So where are you circulating your money? Are you circulating your money towards things that are not going to increase your income? Or are you circulating money towards things that will increase your income? With some things that's going to increase your income? Well, stocks will. Stocks will increase your income. Property will. Property will increase your income. Sometimes you got to look at certain simple things and not do everything on a large scale. You might say, well, it's a risk, trying to get rich in the stock market. Well, I mean, it's a risk not trying to get rich at all. Your main focus, especially if you're in your 20s, should be how can you get rich? What can you do in order to get rich? What is the main focus of what you can do in order to get rich? And what can I do not to get rich just to have a whole bunch of money set up? Like, what can I learn about money to be able to circulate it properly? Because I want to have money for my children's children. I want to have money for the people in my family to be able to live off of. Yet through society and social media and media, we're told that if you're a trust fund kid, that you're an evil person. So you mean to tell me that someone's father who follows what God had ordered them to do, which is provide for leave an inheritance to his children's children, you want to condemn that person and the person who just received money as if they're some spoiled brat? You mean to tell me the individual who just received money through an inheritance, you treat them as if you're better than them? And their family is doing what God had instructed us to do? Come on. Truthfully, if all of you individuals thought about your children instead of thinking about whatever BS car you want to get during your tax return, you would take some of that tax return money and apply it to an account that's going to benefit your children. By the time they're 18, they have some money getting sent towards them. People pretend that their fathers weren't around when their moms was hoes. People pretend that their moms ain't this, that, and the third when, what it was is they just was dealing with whatever they was able to deal with. But just imagine you as a grown man, whether you're Gen X or Gen Z or even millennial, as a grown man or a woman, if by the time you turn 18, somebody said to you, bam, here's some money for you that we had saved. And being as though we taught you how to circulate money, you can actually take this money and use it to your advantage in there. Just imagine what kind of head start you would got if either you went into college, or even if it went until after you got out of college. You got out of college and you had a a war chest, amount of $50,000, $100,000. The way the interest compounds over 18 to 20 years is amazing. And if your kid goes to college, they should. And if you invest the money wisely, 20 years or so, 25 years or so, by the time your kid is out of college, they're going to have money. I love the fact and here's the thing, I don't believe college is for everybody. If you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer, I say go for it. But I mean, if you're just going to college to learn about business, then you're probably wasting your time. If you're going to college to learn about art, you're definitely wasting your time. It's pointless. If you're going to college to learn about any subject that has the term studies behind it, you're an idiot. Like, you're wasting your time. And so I would tell you that even having your parents saving money for you to go out to get 18, to go into the workforce, and they say, hey, you know what? Work at McDonald's, work at this fast food place, and work your way into a managerial position. Learn all of the ins and outs that you need to learn, and ask how to get to the top. That's the one thing that anybody can do in most jobs, especially in franchise positions. Your parents don't put money aside for you, but the money isn't for you to be spent. The money isn't just to be looked at. The money is to be circulated, to increase, to work for you. And that's the difference in how a lot of people view money. For like, poor people view money as they got to buy money so they can buy things, worthless things. Rich people get money, and our whole perspective is we got to have our money make money. And we got to make sure that our money is working for us. So you're not working for your money. Because nobody likes to be at a position where they lost their job, and then now they have to leave their job because there's nothing else that they can do, and now they don't have anything saved up. I seen real quick, last thing I want to talk about, I seen a meme on Instagram where the lady, she was talking with her friends, and she was talking about how much does she have in her bank account before she gets nervous at the amount. She said the amount is $4,000. And then other people and people in the comments were saying, $4,000? I can't believe that. Like, why are you upset at $4,000? Da, 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 da. Like, they say they happy if their account is out of the negative. And listen, I've had accounts in the negative. Like, I understand how that is. But I've had more than $4,000 in my account, and I understand how that is. And what she's saying makes perfect sense. Now, I'm not saying that you're supposed to just have a pool of money in the bank account, several $100,000. I think that's foolish. You got to know how to circulate money, remember? Money is supposed to be moving constantly. It's a currency, so it has a current with it. But I can't think poor. I have to think rich. I would challenge all of you to think rich and to cease from thinking poor.